What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we got huge news on social media in regards to Madden 26 franchise mode that we need to sit down and just talk about a little bit. Now, depending on who you follow on social media, you may be aware that this week, content creators have been invited to Orlando to go get an early look at the new College Football 26 game, and today it is Madden 26 Day. And as someone that has been a part of those events, it's been a little bit since I've been there. Not doing well as a channel. But when I have been there, you sign NDAs. And usually those are very, very strict NDAs. And you can sometimes share information like a couple weeks after, a month after, whatever. There's usually deadlines. But the fact that today we are getting information kind of dropped that we're going to break down here around franchise mode. I got a little tinfoil hat theory here that there's been so much one-way street hype in comparison between this game, Madden, and college football that they're trying to get a little bit of hype around Madden again. Last year was all college football. Zero hype for Madden, all college football. 2 years ago, before there was even college football, all the hype was still we're a year away from college football and not on Madden 24. And it feels like this year it's more the same. To this point, it's all been can't wait to get our hands on college football 26. Oh yeah, you get Madden if you pre-order. Like it's been an afterthought. And as someone that, is a primary Madden content creator, it'd be so sick if this, and it's kind of been co-signed by some other creators that have been there, is true, and this is going to be the biggest franchise update in over a decade. I would love for Madden to get some hype back again. It would be great for my life and what I do on a day-to-day basis. And we got two little nuggets of information that I think could potentially... I'll say this one for a second. We'll look at these are the two things. One, at the top here, this is from Kurt, who got invited to the play test. He says, there is completely new player movement for Madden 26. They took the best movement set from College Football 25 and the best from Madden 25 and blended them for this game. 4-2 speed will feel like 4-2 speed. More explosion, more speed, dynamic cuts, and more user control. I think last year, the advantage of College Football 25 being next-gen only, we saw a little peek into the future of what hopefully was and apparently might be coming to Madden this year. The movement, how players felt athletically in college football last year was almost day and night from where they were at Madden. How many times in Madden have you had, depending on, especially if you're running on default speed threshold sliders, do you have fast guys who just don't feel fast? Especially if you're playing on all Madden. Feels like they just nerfed your fast guy, and he's like, oh, he just got hawked down by an 88 speed corner. He's 98 speed. What happened here? The inverse of that, I feel like, happened in college football. If you had a guy with jets on the outside, and you hit a shot downfield, a go route downfield, and he beat his guy, there's no catching. He is gone. You're the last slow trailing DB, especially if you're playing bad school and the guy only has 85 speed. He's not even going to be in the frame by the time your fast speed guy hits the end zone. So the fact that that is coming to Madden is going to be very nice. But that's more of a Madden thing, not a franchise thing. We have this little drop here. AI Predictive Playcalling with reasoning is coming to coaching suggestions and teams you play against in Madden 26. If he just left it as coaching suggestions, I'd be like, yeah, okay, kind of cool. But the fact that it comes against teams you play against in Madden 26 makes me think, okay, does this mean in some way, shape, or form we are going to get unique playbooks? And this is kind of the first little information that maybe there's going to be a change in playbooks in Madden. If they're going to let AI kind of have some influence over team playbooks and team play calling, that is gigantic. Without a shadow of a doubt, I kind of wrote down, I got 6 things that I really want to see realistically in Madden 26. And number 1, by a mile, is the overhaul of playbooks. Playbooks are the worst thing without a shadow of a doubt. There's nothing that even comes close in Madden franchise mode that needs to be fixed, that needs to be updated, that needs a fresh coat of paint. Because as it stands right now, if you've played or watched any franchise content, playbooks are king in Madden. Regardless of what your team ratings are, if you have a good playbook, you are going to cheese. If you have a bad playbook, good players will there's just ceilings that you constantly hit. You could have a 99 overall quarterback, and if you're on a bad playbook, he'll never go over 30 touchdowns. You could have a 99 overall running back. You could take a prime Adrian Peterson, Barry Sanders combo, and if you're on a team that just doesn't have a good run offense, and I'm not even just saying they don't run the football. You can have an appropriate amount of run attempts, but you're just going to have terrible yards per carry. You're going to have terrible overall yards. And it's just because it's the playbook. It's not based upon the talent that you have on your roster. How many times have you gone against the Kansas City Chiefs and they're the final boss, the cheat code in games? How many times have you seen the Dallas Cowboys just put up ridiculous, unrealistic numbers because they're the Dallas Cowboys and they have the Dallas Cowboys playbook? The Green Bay Packers are pretty overpowered. You have the Cincinnati Bengals. We were able to break that playbook in Madden 25 by putting Jamar Chase in the slot and literally scoring almost 40 touchdowns a year. And all these things are min-maxed, optimized, de-optimized, just strictly based off of playbooks. And if we're going to be going towards the future of having AI somehow, some way have influence over our Madden franchise modes, if that means that it is going to change the playbooks and it's going to be less reliance on a specific team playbook being good and more reliance on specific play calling, what the AI determines, and for the love of God, make it mean ratings. Ratings need to matter. I think playbooks can have specific tendencies. If you have a team like, let's just say you're Philadelphia, right? If you know that you're going to play the Philly playbook, I think there should almost be, that the tendencies are going to be to run the football, right? If you want to play as the Cincinnati Bengals, your tendency should be to throw the football. You're going to throw that football if you know you're playing with the Bengals offense than like a regular offense. That and playbooks kind of meaning something to specific teams is good as long as it's like, if it's 100% of the pie, that can only be like 25% of the pie. Have a little bit of specialty to specific playbooks, to specific teams, kind of like this. I want Dan Campbell to call play like Dan Campbell. But I don't want the Lions with Jared Goff and what they have right now to be the Lions if you're playing the Lions 5 years down the future and they have a dual threat quarterback. I don't want that dual threat quarterback to play like Jared Goff because that's the playbook and that is how that playbook decides the Lions are going to play. It needs to be based off of stats. That is where we need to get to for a Madden franchise. And that is still because, we're interpreting this tweet to mean that playbook changes are coming. It could still kind of be the same, but that goes back into my number one thing on my wish list for Madden 26. For the love of God, make ratings king. When you play Call of Duty, they lie to you with the skill-based matchmaking. They say ping is king. Well, we need ratings to be king in Madden 26 for play calling. Every team needs to be ratings, and then 75% ratings, 25% specialty playbook, authenticity. Have the Saints or whatever use Taysom Hill and have yada yada yada. But for the most part, man, we need a playbook nerf in Madden 26, and I'm slightly optimistic. And until we get the deep dive for franchise mode, I think you can get a little bit hype about that. I would say, outside of that, what else do we need to see in Madden 26 franchise mode? I have 5 other things that I think I really want to see. I'm just going to throw them in here. I'd love to get your guys' feedback in the comments below. What do you need to see in Madden 26 to get some hype around it? For me, number 2, I want to see AI trade. If we're going to have this influence of AI in our franchise modes, which I think is going to be for the better, because AI is going to remove everything feels so linear. Everything feels like, I'll say this for my last point, because I do talk about AI again. But I think the CPU/AI, I want to see trades during the draft. I want to see teams, AI, be aggressive in trading up in the draft. That is one of the most exciting things that happens in the NFL, our big draft day trades, and that just doesn't exist. And I don't think it's ever existed in Madden franchise mode. That would be sick. Maybe take a little bit of inspiration from FIFA. FIFA, you have deadline day. On the transfer deadline, which is it's the end of January, end of August, where literally it's a cutscene where you sim through and you get to watch all the final deadline trades happen. How about put that in Madden? Maybe that would put an emphasis on having the franchise, every franchise you're in, you could have ridiculous trades. Maybe in the settings, because you can kind of set your trade difficulty to super easy or super strict. Maybe you could have that kind of fluctuate, and that will also determine the AI versus AI or CPU versus CPU trades that happen in your given franchise mode. But I think we need to see a little bit more randomness across the leagues, and I'm not talking the buggy ones where teams with already great quarterbacks trade for also great quarterbacks, and you have teams that have a couple 80+ overall QBs. Not that. But I think there's a room for improvement for AI CPU trades in your given franchise mode. Number 3 is I want to see a UI overhaul. I've played on next-gen Xbox. I've played on PC. The menus are still too laggy. There's still wait times. You get a tab between all the... Come on, man. We're next-gen. Whereas in the futures, we're going to get... Revamp the AI. The UI. Don't be having it carry over from the last couple games. Copy, paste, copy, paste. I want something that is fully optimized for next-gen. With the hardware that we have available, it needs to be seamless. There should not be any load times. Going through menus... going through different player cards in your franchise mode, and if it's the reasoning is why do I have to sit through 2-second load screens every time I try to do something, is because we're kind of running off the old engine that works for this game and it's just not optimized. Optimize it, please. Optimize it. We are in the future. Stop making me wait in the goddamn menus. Next one, I'd like to see terminology updates. There's some rumors that this could be happening. I mean, the big thing is people want edge rushers and linebackers to kind of mean two different things, but I think that's just hugely important for franchise mode because of the contracts. How many times have you had to pay a clear off-ball linebacker edge rush money when it comes contract time because of the lack of terminology? I couldn't give two shits about long snapper. Long snapper to me is... can we have the Pro Bowl back in Madden again debate? The people that want that, who really cares? That's going to be in the game. You're going to forget about the second that it's back in the game. You just want it because it's not there. But ultimately, there is for the good of updating the terminology. I think edge rush and linebacker make the biggest change. Also, it's the Travis Hunter year, so we need to have ultimate depth chart customization. I should be able to put anybody anywhere. Don't just kind of, do the bare minimum and be like, well, now we can put corners at wide receiver and wide receivers at corner. Let me put anybody anywhere. If I'm the Eagles and I want to put Jordan Mailata at running back, I'm the Eagles, I want to put Lane Johnson at quarterback, let me do it. Okay? Let me do it. Why not? It's my franchise mode. I should be able to do whatever the hell I want. Up next, we have the expansion draft. They've promoted Team Builder. Bring this brand new team that doesn't exist into Madden franchise mode. That is a huge back-of-the-box feature from last year's game. What is the evolution of Team Builder? Expansion draft. You are essentially bringing a brand new team to the league. When that has happened in years past, they give you the expansion draft. So I think a way to not just have the only other starting point option be a fantasy draft where it's every team in the league. I would love to see an expansion draft setting where you can bring a brand new Team Builder team in. You are the 33rd team. Maybe make it up to 34. You could have two brand new teams, kind of give you even numbers. And let me have an expansion draft. I feel like that would be absolutely sick. And the last thing is, if we are going to be shifting towards AI involvement in our franchise modes, can we make the cutscenes that we have happen less copy and paste, less through the motions? The fact that you're going to have the same 4 cutscenes at the beginning of a season, at the end of the season, same relative questions that you can have. There's not a lot of variance. Is that where AI can come in? Is that where AI can kind of, based off of maybe certain thresholds, maybe based off of certain members of your roster, you can get completely different experience every single time? I think the fact that if I do a 5-year franchise rebuild, the fact that 97% of the cutscenes that I go through will be the exact same, I feel like that's lazy. That's way too copy and paste. That's way too the same as anybody else that plays it. You know what I'm saying? Can we get? I really want that authentic, truly unique franchise experience, and I feel like AI is what can bring us there. AI can have random. You have. Let's just I'll throw out something completely hypothetical. Maybe I draft a completely generated wide receiver player that has a under the hood diva trait. He's the guy that's always having talking to you during the week, saying, "I need more catches. I need more of this." Maybe someone with AI, because you have that archetype of wide receiver, is going to go, boom, 2 bad games, he wants to trade at the trade deadline. Just that's not going to happen if you drafted a non-diva wide receiver. It's very team-specific. It doesn't happen. If you sim 5 years in a row, you might not get it to pop up one single time. But the one time that it does pop up, that is going to make it that much more memorable of an experience. I think that is the future of maybe maximizing AI and how it's going to handle the cutscenes and storylines that trigger in your given Madden franchise experience. It just needs to be less copy and paste. The fact that I could do 10 different 5-year rebuilds, and the fact that the cutscenes that are supposed to be these big game changers in my franchise are going to be 95% the exact same across all 10 of those rebuilds. Again, it's a little bit niche. Most normal users are just playing their one franchise mode, and they're not going to get that, stale boredomness of seeing the same things over and over again. But I also would say the counterpoint to that is someone that plays an immense amount of different years and different teams, to see how it's copy and paste We can do better, I think. But those are the things I want to see ahead of Madden 26. What do you guys want to see? Let me know in the comment section below. As we get more news and information, we also will have giveaways on the channel once we get some codes for Madden 26 and College Football 26. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you lock into the channel here. We're getting ready for a big offseason. Big regular season of College Football 26 and Madden 26. So make sure you stick along for the ride. Thank you guys very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. That battle of C4's channel against the YouTube algorithm, for the love of God. Let's see if we get these videos in the recommended feeds. That's all I ask for in return. Until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace. I love you. Have a good one.